Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of Kinda Hot, Kinda Healthy. Today is going to be a YouTube bonus episode. If you are new here, Maddie and I, as eloquently as we can say this, we don't make money from our podcast. And so we will do YouTube bonus episodes and extended cuts when we have to watch our storage. As not cute as that sounds, that is the reality of building a brand from the ground up. So today might look like a shorter episode. You might have opened your little podcast app and been like, what the hell? 30 minutes? Girls, I thought we did better than this. Don't worry. The conversation continues on YouTube. We'll put the link directly below. It's kind of hot, kind of healthy on YouTube, but you will see this is episode, I don't know what episode it is. It's in the 70s. You will just
hmm
see extended cut. You will go there, you finish your episode. It's a beautiful, gorgeous thing. Top
You
of the
know, I
show.
like
That's what I had to say.
I like it. I like to say speak things into existence, and we are a thriving, large, successful podcast that we will get to that point where the sponsors are just crawling to us to
Not crawling, they're running, they're
oh
busting
running.
down
They're
doors.
they're stampede. It's Black Friday in
It is Black Friday
1990.
over here.
The original Black Friday, when I have vivid memories. I don't know why I'm talking about Black Friday, but vivid memories of like standing in the longest line to like Toys R Us and like
No, yeah.
ready to get trampled to get like my Bratz doll or like my what was it? Rock Band. Do you remember Rock Band?
Mm. We
So
got
fun.
interviewed in the mall one year.
Why is it so
It
funny?
was so embarrassing. No, it was literally so embarrassing. So my mom still loves Black Friday. She loves the rush of it. But I'm like, Mom, like there isn't
Mhm,
even that much of a rush anymore. And she's like, I don't
mhm.
care. I love it. So her and James go. I'm like, I can't do that. That's just too much for me. So they go together. Um, but we were, back in the day, you woke up at like 3 a.m., got to the mall for like 4 a.m. We would have like our bagels in the car, be so tired. And all of a sudden you get there, we'd like fucking beeline it to Victoria's Secret because there was so many free gifts you would get if you like bought X amount
Yep.
of bras or whatever. So we're walking around. It's probably 9 a.m. at this point. I got like a Zabaro slice of pizza and a Diet Coke because like time does not exist. This
Mhm.
newscaster comes up and she's like, would you want to be interviewed to talk about, the Black Friday deals and the madness? Because it was madness. Like the mall was crazy. So
Mhm.
it was me, my sister, and our friend. And we were like, yeah. And then all of a sudden at the last minute, like me and my friend like bitched out. We're like, I can't do this. I can't do this. And Kate's like, guys, this is so embarrassing. Like, I can't do this alone. All of a sudden, our uncle, who he came with us, he like comes out of fucking nowhere. And Kate's like, Steve, you have to do this with me. This is like gonna be mortifying. So then he's like, oh, I got this. I got this. He is hyping it up like nobody else. He's like, look in the bag. Look at these deals. Hundreds of dollars saved. I'm just like, oh my God. And then my grandma, we like called her because she'd be like the only one up. We're like, look on the news, like it's gonna be playing again, like blah blah blah. And
Uh,
she was like, oh my God. And
You guys did you save it by chance?
if anyone has it, it would either be on my parents' DVR because they still have
Mhm.
DVR,
Uh-huh.
or Kate has like a screw like a video of it.
Oh,
So we'll have to
God.
ask her about that because it's so funny. And like, what a dick. Why did I like say like why did I bitch
Oh,
out? No, I mean honestly, like if my uncle hadn't come around the corner, what was it gonna be Kate by herself? Poor thing.
yeah, if a store wants to be successful Black Friday next year, I would go. If it was something fucking fun, I would do a Black Friday. Like, imagine how fun
What
that
do you
would be.
mean?
Like if they would go back to the
Oh, like
original
the
way.
doorbusters.
Yes, like make it like where the store is totally closed. Like, you know what I mean? Like just go back to that versus like all online. People would go crazy for that.
People would go crazy because like all of the deals you can get online,
I know, it's like
you
not
know?
fun. Like I'm not busting down my internet explorer, you know?
Love it. Yeah, like no. Before we keep going, my mom last Black Friday, my mom and I, we were we had gone together. It was me, my mom, and James. This is the last year I ever went Black Friday shopping because I had a
Mhm.
panic attack. We
Mm.
entered through the Macy's or the Nordstrom, whatever, that door. And so the Nordstrom was open, but the gates to the mall were closed. And so
Okay.
everybody's just like standing and like you're getting more and more people behind you. And my
Oh my
mom's like,
God.
"Oh my God, this is crazy." And like she's getting a rush and I'm like literally looking at James. I was like, "I'm gonna lose it. Like this is too much for me."
Uh-huh.
So that was like the last like doorbusters experience, and the people were hyped. They were like waiting. The gate is here. They're like right here. They're like getting on it. I'm like, this is crazy, but
Oh, that's
what an
so funny.
experience.
That's funny. No, that's such good memory. I could go on and on about good Black Friday memories,
Literally.
but we're not going to do that. Real quick, I just want to bring something up because I just thought it was, I thought it was funny. So we're going to call this person this. I don't know. Oh, we'll give the nickname.
Yeah.
We'll just give the nickname. And this is where I don't laugh, but it's just like it's interesting when you meet someone in life and they also have a podcast. Okay, that happened to you besides, like, our friends, like
Right.
Marcy and Lauren, right? It's very rare that that happens. So, this person also has a podcast, and they're like, "Oh, like, what's your podcast about?" And I was like, "Oh, like, a health and pop culture, like, like, girly things." I'm like,
For the
"Oh, what's yours?"
girls.
For the girls. I'm like, "What's yours about?" And they sent me one of their episodes, and I was like, "Oh, we are not the same."
What was it?
Just like it wasn't like it made me feel bad about our podcast, but I was just like, "Oh, wow." Like sometimes it's not that I put down our podcast by any means, but like remember, how we talk about here, like you guys know, listeners and all the girls know, like we're not reading studies. We're not talking about like
No.
the latest breaking health things. Like we're keeping it real, we're keeping it fun. And like their podcast was very much like having I mean we hope to have bigger and better and more, like doctors, whoever, like good conversations like that. But it was like very like data driven, like bro science. And I was just like, no, 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 in a good way. Like I learned a lot and I listened to it. But I
I
was
don't
like,
ever want to listen to a podcast like that. Peace and love.
you don't have to. You don't have to. I do, but it's not the crux of what I listen to.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm not gonna send any of ours. Like it's brain rot.
Oh my God, stop it. You are literally pushing us down. We are uplifting.
You're right.
We
You're
are
right.
manifesting, and you're over here fucking do, do, do. Come on now,
No,
girl.
you're right. But it was more of like I was like, oh, we're just very different. Because like
Very
we're
different.
we're for girls, right? Guys
Yes.
guys like the data and that kind of stuff. And it was just funny because I was like, oh, we have very different podcasts. Very different podcasts.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've always like said it like this is not going to be a space that feels like really like boring and sciency. Like
Mhm.
I will quit if that's what the vision is, because that is
I
just
couldn't do it.
it's too much. And so this is a really good theme, though. You cannot compare apples and
Yes.
oranges. They're both
Yes.
fruits, but they are entirely different.
Even when we were doing, if you're an OG listener, I forget we're already so far, like into the 80s almost of our episodes, but like when
Yeah.
we were doing our deep dive of the month, that even got too much for me. Like
Yeah.
it like
Honestly,
I loved it, but like it was just like wasn't fun anymore doing all that research and like I felt so much pressure.
it was a
Meanwhile,
lot of
we have shit.
research.
Yeah, no, no, no. Like we're not a newscast. Like I mean, if you liked it, let us know. Maybe we'll bring one back. Stop. We'll bring one. Wait, where's the breaking news?
Ah, shit.
It's
Guys,
okay. But
I also got like I have a new keyboard and mouse, and so I'm
uh-huh.
used to like grabbing for the mouse, but because all of my like micro like all the USB ports are being used, my mouse won't work because it's like wireless. So I went to go reach for it to try and like do a moment. Anyway, yeah. No, even deep dives. That was interesting, but it gets to a point where we burn out and that,
Yep.
you know,
And it's like the same thing to bring it back to like any of you guys who are like trying to find that fitness modality. not everything is going to stick for you. Not
Yeah.
everything's going to work for you. So like we could have been like, we hate deep dives. Why are we doing this? Why are we podcasting, and quit? But we just said, oh no, we just don't like deep dives, and we're going to keep trying things until we figure out what works. And like obviously we've been figuring out what works and doing with that, and it helps us be consistent and show up for you guys weekly. So that's on that.
That's on that. You brought up a really good topic point right when we were sitting down that I want to get into. And again, well, we have two ways to go about this. We have 15 more minutes. Do we want to shoot the breeze for 15 minutes and save it for the extended, or do we just want to cut the conversation in 15 minutes and go to the extended? Those are our options right now.
That's a good question. I guess we'll just start talking about it, see where it goes,
Perfect.
and go
Perfect.
from there. Real quick before we get into it, so that way you guys hear this. May 2nd, I am doing an in-person event. I never freaking do that. I'm doing it at my friend's health and wellness studio. It's called Laura Thompson's Wellness and Healing. Um, I will put the link to go to like sign up for it. But she does cold plunging, sauna. I'm doing a little bit of a talk there, talking about like how we can get better results if you're cold plunging, saunaing, doing all that stuff, trying to get leaner. Luvi Wellness, which is a vitamin company, will be there doing drip vitamins, which I will not be partaking because needles and me do not mix. But it's on May 2nd. So if you are local to the Pittsburgh area, you need to come because we're doing like $500 in raffle giveaways. So I'm super excited. But I'll put the link there for my local gals to sign up. So
I love
the
that.
topic. I know I'm excited.
Topic.
Done one of these before. Anyway, so I was listening to Joe Rogan, and this is not like yay or nay him. I sometimes listen to it, but he had Antonio Brown on, and if you don't know who that is, like I really don't, but he played on the Steelers football team. What he played, I think quarterback. I don't know. I think because he's like a smaller dude, and what they were insinuating in the conversation, it seemed like that's what he played. But anyway, they were talking about exercise. Now, this is where Allie and I always point out like the difference between getting input and getting your information from someone that's actually credible. Okay. So they're talking about exercise and like, how to get stronger, especially with football and like the head injuries, all that stuff. And the topic of deadlifts got brought up. And I was very, very fascinated with the idea, his opinion, Antonio Brown's, a professional football player's opinion about deadlifts. Allie, it
I'm
looks like he
sorry.
was it looks like he went through a wind tunnel.
I know, I know. I didn't blow dry my hair last night.
I'm sorry. Every time I look over, it's
I was trying to be focused, and you're over here like calling it. I'm like, I need to put a hat
I,
on.
I
Need to put a hat
know.
on.
You need that.
I
It
don't
was
know,
just
guys. We're trying to be serious, and
there we
Madison is
go.
just making fun of my hair. I need to
No,
blow it
no.
out. Thank
I
you.
sorry.
It's
It was
fine.
just I just every time I would like look back at your hair, it was like a different volume.
She's a
Okay.
bitch. It's
And
fine. It's
and
fine.
and this is why you need to be subscribed to the YouTube channel.
Yes.
Anywho, so I was so intrigued by his opinion of deadlifting. And this is where women get confused because if you are listening to someone's opinion who is just because they work out a lot, just because they're an athlete or they look fit, does not mean it's an accurate opinion. Just like there are coaches, like to be point blank frank, like when I first started coaching, and I'm sure you can agree too, we didn't know jack shit. We
Mm.
thought we knew, but we did not know. And every day I'm in this industry, I'm like, oh, didn't know that. I'm still
Mm-hmm.
finding things and learning. So anyway, he literally, like, I wish I wrote down exactly what he said, but he was like shitting on it. He was like, there's no point to be doing deadlifts. Like, I don't even know what they do. What's the point? And Joe Rogan was like, right? He was like, well, they improve your lower chain. which agreed. Okay, what's the lower chain, right? Your glutes, your hamstrings, maybe a little bit of your quads, very back dominant because you have to hold that bar correctly. But Antonio Brown, a professional athlete, was literally shitting on deadlifts, saying there's no point, they don't do anything, you're just going to get hurt. No one should be doing them. They're not used for real life situations. I'm like, sir, do you not think you're going to be bending women? What the fuck happens when your kid's on the ground, a baby? You bend over to you hinge your hips. I can name 500 million times a day. I hinge my hips. This
Yes.
is my hips for watching me on YouTube. Hinge. That's a
Yep.
deadlift, guys. That's a deadlift. So why would we look at a movement like a deadlift that is so important to our everyday life and be like, that's so bad? If you think a deadlift's so bad, I should never see you hinge your hips ever again.
Right. No, absolutely. And just the mere fact that he gets up on a podcast, he has notoriety because he's a professional athlete and he's spewing information that is absolutely incorrect, misinformation to a wide audience is just super, super frustrating. Because exactly right. In our everyday lives, we are essentially performing a deadlift in any movement, whether you realize it or not, whether you're, lifting properly or not, you're reaching down to pick up the laundry basket, pick up your kids, pick up something, a heavy box delivered from Amazon, right?
Mhm.
I clock it all the time when we're moving furniture because I love a feng shui of a room, love rearranging things. Oftentimes, I'm like getting into a deep ass squat to like lift some shit up, or I'm getting in a deadlift position so that I am not going to hurt myself. I know I'm fully capable of moving this shit. It's all about like being in the proper position. And mostly for women to hear this because men will either they're already in the gym and they understand it, or they're not as dissuade. Like, I just think they're like, oh, yeah, like he knows what he's talking about. But a woman would be like, well, then why would I ever do it? Like, if this man is saying it and if they're not comfortable in the gym and then they hear other women start talking about it or they see people doing it in the gym, they're like, oh my God, they're going to hurt themselves or I'm going to hurt myself. And it is
Mhm.
actually super
Dangerous.
discouraging
Yeah.
and dangerous. Yeah. Like, because if you are just taking advice in from people that don't know what they're talking about, and you might not know that. You're like, oh, he's an athlete. He
Mhm.
he he knows what he's talking about. Or just like anybody like on Instagram, like any like fucking fitness model turned coach or somebody that lost weight and now they're like, oh, I help women lose weight. It's like, okay, you lost weight for yourself, but like what are your credentials? What is your experience? What do you know? It's just really frustrating. It's really frustrating. I'm like,
It's like causes like obviously two problems, like probably more than two. It discourages women or
yep,
anyone from learning how to deadlift because you're like, this is so bad for me. It causes
hmm,
fear, right? Now you have
yep,
fear around this movement and fear of
yep.
hurting your back. I mean, how many women have you coached where they're scared to lift because they heard of someone getting hurt doing X and insert
Yep.
any movement,
Yep.
right? And now it's like they will do anything to not hurt themselves or avoid that movement, and it's such an integral part of how we move. It's
Yep.
like saying squatting, right? I mean, I can think back to my first certification just to be a certified personal trainer. I kid you not, I could find the book, I still have it somewhere. It says do not squat below parallel.
Yeah.
Like like literally do not squat below parallel. So you're saying like is this is parallel like this whole area? I'm talking like once your knees are in line with your butt, if you're sitting into a squat, everything below that is like you're gonna die, right? And then
Right.
it's like it creates fear around that.
Because a
And
lot of women here, like, don't let your knees go over your toes. And so then
exactly.
you build this up in your head
Hmm.
and you're thinking, why are squats not working? Why am I not
Hmm.
seeing any changes? Or you're warning all of your girlfriends, oh yeah, you're not squatting properly. I read this thing. And it's no shade to the people themselves, but like when you're out there like putting out like shitty information, you have to be accountable for that. It's super annoying.
It is, and it makes me also think like how we can truly like sometimes I get a little on the sides of like showing, okay, this is the best form, right?
Yeah.
Because when you think about what is the best form for that movement, it's going to be dependent on that person's body shape, body style,
100%.
their femur length, their how, their quad, whatever it is, like their body shape and what feels comfortable for them. So for him to say like, he was saying like, well, you have to do it properly. Okay, well, no, duh, you have to do it properly. But
Yeah, no, I was
anything,
expecting to like do it totally wrong and like no, and like be totally fat. Like no shit.
right?
No,
Um,
not everybody deserves a microphone.
This is true. Um, any movement, like keeping in mind, any movement can be dangerous.
Hmm.
I've had clients literally pull something in their back when they're sitting on the toilet and they turn to grab fucking toilet paper. Like, freak things can happen, right? But if we are so hyper fixated and nervous about getting hurt at the gym, like I always say, you can get your body stronger and injuries happen. That's just part of life. Or you can stay weak and be more prone to injury that happens in everyday life as well. So it's
Yep.
same with my injuries right now. I could be like, damn, like I'm so mad at myself that I was jumping rope and caused these injuries. But in reality, like I'm getting stronger through them and something else could have happened that caused that injury to happen in life because I'm weaker.
Totally. Yeah, no, totally. Like you say, freak accidents happen. And I just remember one time I maybe this was, I don't know, 2019, 2020, seemingly in like the best shape of my life, 21 years old, doing everything, And I got out of my car the wrong way and I fucking
Mm.
hurt my ankle. And I was like limping,
You roll it?
hobbling for like a week. Just, I don't even know what happened. Literally,
Mm.
no clue. I open the door, I put my foot out, I go to stand up, like I was wrecked. And I'm like, noted. Noted. Like this is something that I tell my clients, and it's a really good part of conversation that we our job is to teach you the best way possible for your body how to perform these movements.
Mhm.
But again, shit happens sometimes. You sleep the wrong way and your neck's fucked up
Mhm.
for a week. So it's
Mhm.
not that these movements are dangerous or you can get hurt. Which, yeah, maybe that can happen, but if you're smart about it and you're going slow and you're not trying to overexert yourself and put a crap ton of weight into each movement, you will most of the time be totally fine.
100%. So let's put a pin in this
Yes,
because
and
we're
we'll
running out of time, and we're gonna continue this on the YouTube. On the YouTube.
on the YouTube. Welcome to the extended cut. Dun dun dun. We need like some
Ooh, ooh,
some
this is
sort of
scary.
music, but so to continue this conversation, did you go into any of the comments? Like I'm always curious when I, read a post or see like a video, I'm always running to the comments because I'm like, what are people saying? Are they calling out the the misinformation? Like what is the vibe? Because I think that's an important part too. Like are people just like pandering and being like, "Oh my God, he's totally right because he's an athlete."
I'm looking.
Oh, she's looking. What?
Wait.
Me? Are you laughing at me?
No, it says
Oh,
the CTE is strong in this one. The CTE is that
and I,
concussion
oop, yeah, yeah.
that what's it called? That the football players get from, hitting their head and they end up, dying eventually. Um, hmm.
Everyone ends up dying eventually.
Well, you know what I mean. Nothing really about the deadlifting. Hmm.
Interesting. That, in my opinion, speaks volumes. Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess not everybody is going to comment on things. Like, I'm not a commenter. I will read all the comments. But
Yeah.
it's surprising in a way that like nobody is saying anything. And I'm sure if you went through the comment section for like 5
There
minutes, you
was
could find
like
something.
thousands.
But like that is just a little crazy to me. And one of my things is like being a woman going into the gym, if you're not super familiar with the gym and you're starting out and you're really trying to gain confidence, it can be really discouraging because a lot of men walk around in the gym and like they give unsolicited advice and it's
Yeah.
like oh you like I remember in college I overheard a conversation and this guy was talking to this girl and he's like, oh, you should not be doing that. You do not need to be doing that, blah, 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 blah. And like, I don't know if they knew each other. I was minding my own business, but I was just like, that happens frequently.
Hmm.
And it's like, bitch, I am way stronger than you think I am. And I can do the same exact workouts that you are doing. Like, I do not need this advice right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I have any experience with a unsolicited gym comment. I don't think so, now that I think about it. But I feel like I've seen enough or heard
Yeah.
enough women that like guys do that because they think they just automatically know better because they played football like for a couple seasons and they're like high school varsity team. We made state champs. Like, I'm right about
Honestly,
that.
honestly, they played 2 years of football varsity and they all of a sudden know everything and they've got their protein shakes and their creatine
Uh-huh.
and their pre-workout and all of a sudden I'm an expert. I know everything. And it's like, no, you're not. That men have a lot of confidence on shit that they don't know.
100%. And I will say, just like kind of talking about injuries and whatnot, is
Yeah.
that I kind I do believe that every time I've had an injury, I've always come back better, like after an
Yeah.
injury. Because like you learn so much, and then you also have so much more of appreciation for like, damn, I was able to do like right now I can't really squat below parallel. Let me tell you, I miss the days of
Yeah.
squatting to
Yeah.
parallel. I'm like, I can't wait. But also, I'm learning so much about making my knees stronger and like the dynamics of my knees and like why 'cause both meniscuses, it's called a meniscus, but both on each leg are a little bit like agitated, and I'm just learning more about the anatomy of it through this injury, and like I know a how I'm getting stronger, and I can see that with the testing I had to do like for my knees, and b I'm learning better ways to support my clients too, but also like see every time I have an injury, I learn how to better grow and support around that area. And it does make you stronger, although it freaking sucks during the process of getting through that injury. So if you do have an injury, just know a lot of times like you're gonna come back better, more educated and more prepared, and also like a better, bigger, I would say gratitude for being able to do that stuff you couldn't do before.
I 100% agree because there will be times where like and I've talked about this with my coach a lot like my back just like it just flares up like we live in a cold climate sometimes it just like it is uncomfortable the pain is irritating but it's not like debilitating but it is pretty uncomfortable sleep is not great and one of the best things that I can do during those moments is still work out, right? I'm not laying on my back all day, hitting the heating pad, whatever. I tailor my workouts. So, like, I'm not really focusing on lifting heavy amounts of weight, but I'm focusing on hip hinging movements. I'm focusing on walking. I'll do the stairs, like getting that blood flow moving. And a lot of the times, I think we are taught to baby an injury. And there
Mm,
is a fine
yep.
line of like pushing yourself too far and doing things that are going to hurt yourself and then helping yourself. And so for
Mhm,
me, whenever I do have like a flare up, it definitely is irritating. I'm not happy about it. I am like a little bitchy, I will be honest.
mhm,
But I sit there and remind myself, I'm like, this is like it's just temporary. It's not a big deal
mhm,
always appreciating the following days when I'm feeling better, when I can go into the gym and I can lift without concern, when I can
mhm.
feel really powerful, and just knowing that a lot of it has to do with your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of the times when we are so afraid of something, the chances of like injury happening are much higher because you're so
Yep.
in your head.
Yep.
You're so like you're more tense.
Yep. 100%. You know
Yeah.
me, I'm so into like woo woo side of things. But I totally believe that. Just like people that I've said this before struggle with not labeling themselves as forever sick and their diagnosis, and they can't see past that. I mean, there's so much research that shows that like people will struggle to heal if they're so attached to the diagnosis name,
Yeah.
that they have. But like you were saying, I mean, the research is just really proving when it comes to injuries that it's not just like ice and rest and elevate that can be helpful in periods of time, but like a lot of it's movement and getting blood
Yeah.
flow. And there's so much research that shows if you, like, let's say, for example, with your ankle, you twist the F out of your left ankle. If you continue working out, obviously not putting a ton of weight on that left side, but
Yeah.
doing one side of things, there is data that shows you will get stronger in the other leg as well, just
Yeah.
because you're using the right side, like
Hmm.
using the opposite side. So your body will transfer some of those strength gains to the side that's not even doing anything. So
Hmm.
it's really important that, and on top of that, you're continuing to keep that habit. Whereas you were
Yeah.
like, oh, I rolled my left ankle, I can't do anything. And now you're undoing all the consistency that you built. Meanwhile, we can just say, okay, what can I still do? I can still do upper body. I can still do
Yep.
seated stuff. I can still do X, Y, and Z. So you're sharpening the iron of your consistency through the speed bumps because, like we always say, you're going to hit a speed bump. So would you
Yes.
rather teach yourself how to keep going and get your mind into a stronger place? Or be like, oh, well, that's it. I'm done for. Now
Yeah.
it's just my body's disintegrating. It is what it is, right? And literally. And now you've taught yourself how to give up when there's a minor inconvenience.
Yeah. No, and it is oftentimes a minor inconvenience. Sure, there are
Hmm.
times when an injury hits you and it's a big fucking deal. But a lot of the
Hmm.
time for conversations that we have with people, um, it is things that you can still work through. Like I
Hmm.
was kind of laughing as you were talking because I just remember a couple months ago, maybe last summer. I don't actually remember, but it was not that far away. I fell like down a stair that I thought there
Oh,
was like I thought the landing was shorter. I was not paying attention and I
oh.
like biffed it because like the landing was like two times of what I thought.
Hmm.
And my ankle was so fat. It was so bruised, so swollen. Like it hurt so bad. So for like a week, I really just focused on like elevating it, wrapping it really tight, doing what I can, walking a little
Hmm.
bit, but like babying it for a moment because it
Hmm.
was really painful to put weight on it. I was like, all right, we got to
Hmm.
just like sit for a moment in this. And
Hmm.
then 5, 6 days later, I was like, okay, this is becoming more tolerable. What can I do? And like you said, it was focusing on honestly not walking as much as I would like to because there was a lot of pressure. It was painful, but I focused on upper body work. I focused on moving when I could. A week after that, I focused on my lower body workouts, but like kind of experimenting what felt okay and what
Hmm.
did not feel okay. And when I was experimenting with this, I was using body weight or I was
Hmm.
using very light weight to figure out okay, what feels okay, what does not feel okay. And I was able to work out consistently while it healed. And like a fucking sprained ankle, those do not heal quick. Like, what is like, I'm like an
I
85-year
know.
old woman over here when you sprain an ankle. But the best thing that I could do is number one, continue with the habits
Hmm.
of literally just like getting to the gym. Because when you stop doing that, you fall off track. It's way harder to get into the groove. So kept going to the gym, even if it was just to sit and do some machine work, just to sit and like into the gym. And then working with my coach, right? Number one, that's a huge factor here. And identifying, okay, I know what's going to feel good. I have tested this out, but what also do you think is going to be okay? And we really experimented together. And all in all, I was able to do almost everything. I might have adjusted my weight. I adjusted some of my workouts. For example, like a single leg deadlift, I just anchored my opposite foot.
Hmm.
So like still was able to mimic a single leg deadlift, but we
Hmm.
adjusted things. And now when that inevitably does happen again, because it will, because we're humans and I am very clumsy, I will be less irritated because I'm like, all right, it is what it is. Let's just kind of repeat the process of what we did. And that's a confidence thing because it's going to
Hmm.
happen. Like you said, like you, unfortunately, you drive a car every day. Eventually, something might happen because that is just the
Hmm.
reality of going out there. You go
Hmm.
to the gym, eventually something might happen. Like it's just the reality. And I don't think it's to like to scare you, but it's just to like we gotta, if that does happen, we have to find a way to work through it versus just giving up, falling off of your routine, and feeling like you've lost all your progress.
Yeah, and I think that happened when you were in the first big part of your diet phase, right?
I'm
Or was
trying to
that a
think.
different
It
time
was
when you
like
fell?
no, it was like last summer. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, and even more pissed because it's like, okay, this is like grind time.
Yep. And I remember, and I was like, and we talked about this, but it's always good to talk about it again. Like, that was during a crucial part of your diet phase when you were like just in the beginning. Like, that was like, I don't know, 10 pounds ago for you. And imagine if you let that derail you, right?
Oh
And you're like,
yeah,
well, I can't do this diet phase, right? And you've lost more weight since then. So it's so important, like we have hammered down to you guys, that we don't let these things derail us. We find the plan B. We find, okay, what can I still do
yeah,
so I can keep moving forward? Same thing. That's an injury. Same thing with me. A couple episodes talking about the
yep,
divorce, right? I found the things I could still do without letting everything derail me. And
yeah,
I'm still like, I've gotten leaner. I'm still building muscle. I'm working through injuries. I didn't let those derail me either. I keep going. So no matter if it's an injury or something in life happening, it's finding what we can do, keeping a very positive mindset, even though sometimes you want to sit and cry and you can't do that, but you got to keep going, or else being, I hate to say soft, but being to a point where your mind is not strong in your mindset about like, I'm going to keep going, like that takes time to build and you
yeah,
work on it slowly. Those are the women that get lean, stay lean, and continue getting stronger because they've built the confidence by going through those things and proving to themselves that I can do something still and keep moving forward. That is
yeah.
truly the difference for people.
It is, and it does really start with that internal confidence, like believing that you can move through this and accepting that it might be messy and it's not
Mhm.
gonna go the way that you anticipated. But as long as you keep doing something and putting like one foot forward, you will get to the point where it's like, okay, the injury isn't impacting you or this life altering event is not impacting you and you can look back and be like, oh wow, like I still showed up. Maybe it wasn't the
Mhm.
way I thought it was going to be, but I still was able to put something. And like to visualize like this with my clients. I'm like, it's like you were putting a drop in the bucket of the positivity. Like
Mm.
each weekend that you don't overeat is a drop in the bucket. Each time you hit your protein goal is a drop in the bucket. And there might be a weekend where, yeah, you overeat. So you don't get a drop in the bucket, but you still get to look in that bucket and be like, oh, wow, there is still water in there. I have still made
Mhm.
progress. And like same with an injury or same with a huge event in your life and being able to look at, well, what have I done for myself? Even though it's been really hard, how can I look at all of the things that I have progressed in, that I have worked through? And really that is why whether you have a coach, whether you have a mentor, somebody to help you move through those things and then hold a mirror up to you and remind you like you have moved through a lot of shit and still made progress
Yep.
and showed up for yourself. That's like
Yep.
the biggest thing because you are like your own worst critic. What have I even done? And it's like, well, you've
Yep.
done a fucking lot. Look, I have the data to show what my paper. I have the data to show like what you have done. Um,
Yeah.
like and I said this to my coach the other day. I was like, I don't know what I would have done without you. And she's like, I didn't do anything. This is all you. And it's like, fair enough. You know what?
Oh,
Fair enough. Because it's like, but you need that sounding board just
you do. I do.
to feel seen, right?
Yeah.
Even if you don't learn a new piece of information, it's like, I just need to feel seen and validated
Yep.
by
Yep.
somebody that I trust and I know has my best interest.
Yep.
Like, if
I'm
you need to
telling
call me
you.
on my
Okay.
bullshit, call me on my bullshit.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just like I know they'll call me on my bullshit. And if they're not, then it's like, okay, I still feel good because it's like I'm doing the things that I need to, and I just needed to feel seen.
That's 100% why I have continued to have a coach,
Yeah.
two coaches through everything, because especially as being someone that like always likes to do any move I make, I'm like, is this the perfect move? Like, did I weigh the pros and cons? Like, that's my entire life, and I've been
Yeah.
working really hard to not do that, because when you're trying to figure out what the perfect move is, you're not doing anything, right? Whether doesn't matter
Yep.
what it is. If you're that stuck, you are stuck. Like, what's the perfect thing? But I had messaged her and I was like, I feel really good right now. Like, I just feel very relaxed. Like, I'm just at thinking back a couple months ago, like my birthday, I was not good. I was not sane. I was not like in a good place mental anywhere, good place anywhere. And then now I'm like, damn, like that's how quickly life can change on a drop of a hat
Hmm.
or dime, whatever it is. And I was talking to her the next day after that, and I was like, I am just really confused on why. And I was, and basically she was like, stop. Like, you are trying to make yourself bad. You're trying to
Yep.
figure out like, well, this doesn't make sense, and and I was just trying to like undo the fact that I felt good. So like sometimes this could be with anything. Like, you can get stuck in your head, and it's like Ali said, it's very good to have someone that can call you out on that and have that dynamic with someone. And also, like, I have that same dynamic with clients who we've been
Yeah.
working together for years. And we can do that because we've been talking about their things. I've learned their struggles. I've learned
Mm.
what patterns they fall into. But if you don't have someone like that in your life, it's very easy to get stuck in your own traps, in your own mind minutia, without someone pulling you out or showing you like, here's your blind spot. Like, this
Yeah.
is something you're going to keep coming back to if we don't work on it. Like, someone in some capacity, I think that's very, very important to have.
Yeah. Because like your friends, your family, they're great and all. They give great advice. Not always the best for you, right? Like
No.
they are doing the best that they can, but they're coming from a biased place.
Hmm. And it's
And
hard to receive that when it's family.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
so I don't know how people don't have like an outside source because we have just been in a routine for so long to have coaching, to have
Hmm.
mentorship that I actually do not understand what it is like to not. And that is not, that's not something that is like, oh, now you're conditioned to having too much support. Ah, that's a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like, this is
Yeah.
something that is so beneficial. And I have some clients that I've, like you said, you've been working with forever. I've been working with for the entirety of my coaching career. And I have seen her through, and she wrote this down the other day. And I was like, oh my God, not me and my feels. Like, she was like, I
That's
came
always
to
me.
you. I was like, under eating, stuck doing Whole 30. You put me through my first reverse diet where I was like, I wanted to just do everything the opposite of what you said, but I trusted you. All the way now to she is almost at her due date for pregnancy. And I'm just like
Wow.
the experience that we have got to have, and now we'll have a postpartum experience, and that's just another chapter. And it's like she doesn't necessarily need me to be like, this is how we work out and this is how we eat more protein. She needs support
Mhm.
and to take a load off of her plate. Like, even though we
Mhm.
can write our own workouts, I don't want to. Even though I
Same.
can set up my own macros, I don't want to. Why?
Same.
Because we have that human experience of like, I might just fudge a little bit, or I'm going to be really hard on myself. I
Yep.
want an unbiased support system, the way that we work with our clients. And it really is just like it's one of the best things that I don't know I ever stumbled upon. Like whoever I first hired, like maybe it wasn't the best experience. I can't really remember. It's been years, honestly. But it's like it was the best opportunity because it's like, oh wow, like
Yeah.
in a way, like I'm worthy of this outside support. Like that's actually really awesome that I can give that to myself. And I don't really need to justify it. It's just like, I want support. I want people in my corner.
Yeah, and I always say like I want to keep growing, I want to keep doing
Yeah.
better. And the only way I'm going to do that is if I'm investing in some type of support somewhere, whether it's therapist, whatever it is, like something, because
Therapist, health coaching, business
yeah,
mentor,
yeah,
buying good groceries, having
yeah,
a good car, like a stable car, like where your money goes, like that's where
your
you're
energy.
investing in. And that's where like
Yep.
you're going to see the most of your growth.
Yeah. Like I literally have a list on like my like I have like a Google Doc with like just like
Yeah.
my week breakdown, like what goals I have. I have a list at the very bottom that's like continued education slash like growth stuff. And like
Yeah.
anytime I see something, I'm like, oh, I would
Put
love
that
to
on the
do that.
list.
Literally, I'm like, I'm gonna do that. And I'm talking to my coach right now, and there's two different somatic support programs I'm thinking about joining because like I'm always like I'm very growth mindset. Like I want to keep learning, I want to keep growing and doing that. But I think it's some people like I was talking to this about with someone and I was just saying like we were really jiving on the fact that like growth is very important to us. And like some
Yeah.
people I can see it now in people where it's like it's almost like they're just not aware of their dark spots and their blind
Yeah.
spots and whatever. And it's not to be like, oh, you need to, you know what I mean? But it's just like when you start seeing that in yourself, you see it in everyone. And then
Yeah.
I like to surround myself with people who are also like me because then it also motivates me to keep doing that. Like I was
Yeah.
not sitting here like I give up. I don't feel like doing jack shit. No. Like all my friends are very growth oriented and it only like rising tides raise all ships. Like it only pushes me to keep doing better and doing more and if that's something that you want to do, like be in that kind of frame of mind, like look who you are being surrounded with and adjust
Mm-hmm.
who that is around you because your friend group, like 80% of it, or I can't remember what the quote is, but like your friend group makes up like your identity as well and like what you
Mm.
are pursuing and passionate about too.
Yeah. And even just to like think about that last part of what you said, like your friend group, like I instantly just thought of like my girlfriends, and I'm like, yeah, no, they make me a better person in this way, and they support me in this way. And like we both
Mhm.
agree on these things are really important for like your health and just like just adding to your life. I think
Mhm.
it's like really important. And like also I don't know. I mean, I don't know how other people's like experiences are, but like everybody in my life that that knows like I have a coach and like I have a mentor and just like different things like that. They're all just like they're supportive of that and they're like, "Oh, that's cool. That's great." And it's just like
Mhm.
I love that because there are people that are like, "My husband doesn't understand this. They're not
Yep.
supportive." And it's like,
Yep.
I hate that for you. And like if someone isn't supporting you, like I'm sorry, just do it anyways.
Yeah,
Do it anyways. But it's
are
a
they the
fear
ones that
thing.
It is fear of being judged. There was something on top of my head, and now I'm like blanking on what it was. Dang it. Oh, even having friends. I can't remember if I said this on the podcast or I said it in real life. But like even having friends that are like obviously more aware of these things, but like
Yeah.
not afraid to tell you. Like I was talking with you, obviously, and I was like, I think like it wouldn't make sense to get back into dating until like I've worked on my reactivity. And you're like, yeah. Like, I may have brought this up before, but like I like to say used to be very reactive. And of course, maybe we did talk about this. I can't remember. We've talked about like the same things 100 times, like to each other via text. But like it's always, easier to feel like you've grown until you're hit with past triggers. And like that's
Yeah.
something that like I really have really like worked on to not be reactive, to where being able to regulate myself better. And having Allie, like she could have been like, no, no, you're fine, but no, she was like, yeah, I think that. And I was like, you know what, you're right, I'm gonna work on this more. So just having friends who can see that and also support that and are not just like yes men, or just allowing you to operate as a, I don't know, a lower version of yourself, a less grown version. I think that's really important because I think people can get stuck in their friend groups that don't want to do that or don't see problems with that because they don't see the
Yeah.
problem. I don't want to say problems, but they don't see the areas that they could grow in their life. So, like,
Yeah,
if you
those
were
dark
someone,
areas.
yeah, if you were someone who didn't see that, you may have been like, I don't know what you're talking about, right?
Right.
But you do know that because you've seen that in yourself too, and you're like, that
Mhm.
is important to work on. So
Mhm.
it's just so important who you have around you, what people you are learning from, and that's just going to really flavor the and change the directory of your own life.
Yeah, 100%. It's to wrap it up, it's just look at, like you said, look where you're learning from, who you're surrounding yourself with, and also how much energy you're putting into these things, right? Because
Hmm.
are we are we trying to grow and trying to achieve like our health and fitness goals? Are we putting energy into it? Or are we getting sucked in other directions because you don't have support or your friends aren't super health oriented or
Hmm.
and your friends don't. I say this a lot of the time to um people in my life. I'm like, you don't have to have the same goals as me. Like like as far as like your
Yeah.
health and fitness goes, but like I totally value when people want to make better and smarter choices and just
Yeah.
like I don't know. I just it's an important aspect and it makes me want to show up better for myself even when we're not like 100% like in the same path. Like just knowing that they
Yeah.
care about the things that like are important to myself and like health or whatever. It just makes you want to be better.
100%.
Yeah.
Like every time Allie is doing something, I'm like, I could do that too, like, you know what I mean, with our
No,
business
it was
or like,
actually really funny because, and we do this like a lot, like bounce ideas off of each other. And I'd be like,
mhm.
give me more details. And I'm like, ooh, this is what, let me jot this down. And then Maddie will do the same. And it's just like, but that's so important because like you learn from the people around you.
Mhm.
And even if you're not necessarily like, um, maybe implementing what they're doing, it still gets your brain going. It makes you
Oh, yeah.
excited. It makes you motivated. It's good energy flow. And if your friends are not good energy flow, well, then that's going to be really hard to keep yourself moving forward.
It's time to get new friends, guys. Hey, I made a Bumble BFF profile. I put on there exactly how I am. And the number of girls that I've had reach out to me be like, I don't really drink either. I love deep conversations. I was like, sweet, right? There are people out there for you. You just have to put yourself out there and not be afraid. Like the first girl, I hung out with her on Tuesday. Like before we met, I was like, hey, like zero pressure. I'm very particular and very I'm just a particular person. Like, if you're like, you're just too much for me, like, that's totally okay. I'm sure I am too much for some people. And I'm like, no pressure at all. We go and hate each other and leave, and that's fine. Like, and she was like, I love that you said that. Like, I'd rather not try to pretend to be someone that I'm
Yes.
not.
Yes.
And if that doesn't give you motivation to find someone and be like, it's okay if we don't jive, it's okay. You will find your people. I'm finding my friends, my real in life friends. I mean, obviously, Allie, we can't just hang out all the time, we basically do, but
Virtually.
virtually. But yeah, so this was good. This was a
Yeah.
good. Didn't see this episode coming. We should I wrap it up?
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for listening and watching Kind of Hot, Kind of Healthy. Please make sure to subscribe, give us a 5-star review, and you definitely need to share it with a girlfriend who is getting misinformation from influencers and maybe just feels a little bit stuck with her friend group.
Mm.
You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere where you can stream podcasts. If you have a burning question about life, friends, of health, and 1 or 2 cents, email us at kindahotpod@gmail.com. That's KINDAHOTPOD at gmail.com. Bye.
Bye.